So next we're going to look at the stick compound here, and we can see right now, let me just frame all, there's a lot of different sections within the stick compound. This is the simulated tree, and there's also the initialized tree. We'll just make this into two simple compounds and then link them in. So here is the initialized burn. So create compound and go to properties, init burn, and here we'll just go here again, create compound. Sometimes if you're on a compound, it won't let you create the compound easily. Sometimes it will, so you have to click in the right kind of empty area. If you click somewhere else over a port, it's going to give you a different menu. So the right mouse button has to be over the name or in a blank area. Create compound, compound properties, init fuel. Okay. And then again, we'll just do a execute node to make sure we only have a single output into our tree. And then make this a final compound. Edit instead of properties. Properties. Let me do burn init. Again, I could export that out, but I already have one exported out, so I don't need to go in. But I could just right mouse button, set some properties, like under task, particle slash effects, and then export that out if I wanted to. Again, I have already exported it out, so I don't need to do that step again. And finally here, this is a big one made of lots of parts, so we'll make a series of compounds. I look at each section that does something. This will start the burn, so I'll just pick all those. There's no special inputs, but there is a null here, so I want the null outside of that compound, because that's an external element. So we'll pick all these, right mouse button, create compound, give it a property name. This will be start burn. I'm not adding as many comments as I normally would, just because the compounds help you read the graph, and if you want to add comments, you're welcome to. I would normally add a few more comments. I may do that later on before I save this scene out. We got here the one that sets up gets a point cloud, does the closest point, and sets up the kind of spread here. So this will just do is more of a test, and it tests the closest point and adjusts the age. Again, the point cloud is an external element, so I don't want that inside the compound. But we'll just do this one, create compound, and we give us a name. So I'll call this closest age limit. Okay, closest age limits percentage, and that makes some sense to me. And again, it's just a lot cleaner. We can always go inside there and see how things are. You can see already our graph is looking much better. And then the next is we got this one that sets up the spread. So it's a series of compounds here that go in to set the spread, and these kind of link together. So just going to move those up a bit. I've got the output of the clamp going into the burnout or the fuel as well. So I'm just going to pick these ones here, and again pick those three and create a new compound, and again let's call this one set up spread. Okay, and we again want some outputs on some of these. So in this case here, in the age percentage, I do want to be able to control the cutoff distance, because that allows us to grow spread, and also the factor I have here that allows me to increase or decrease, and those should be giving the output I need from that one. In this one here, the clamp limit is set, the value 2 is set, so again this is all, there's no real output I need in here, so I'm happy with that one, or extra inputs. Finally we have our fuel. I'm getting the fuel twice here. This is because I'm using this one more as a debug. We don't need this debug anymore, so I can just delete it. And again, we'll just take these nodes here, and create the compound. Now when I create a compound, I'm just going to undo that. I lost a connection here, and if something's happened, and if that happens, what you may want to do is disconnect and then reconnect it later on. Just one of these weird things that happens. It is still connected, but it sometimes loses these connections when you do that. And I noticed with this one, for some reason, the connection from the first has been disconnected, but if I actually try to connect it in, oh, there it is. It gives me an error message. So if that happens, if you see that ever happen, just undo what you did, disconnect it first of all, and then reconnect it later on. It is connected, but I don't like not seeing the connection. So I'm just going to do that here. Pick all those. Empty area, create compound. And then we'll go in here and make sure that first has an output, and that is linked back in. There we go. We need a few more controls in here. We've got our clamp. The second is going to be our step. So again, we will subtract here. And let me have a quick look at that one. That's fine, that should be 1. So I'm just going to rename this one from first and second. Just rename that one to reduce step. Okay. And again, there's nothing else I need set up inside there. So now we have, again, 3 simple branches. Compounds are nice and clean. Everything's nice and easy to read. It's not like the spaghetti we had before. And then finally, just to make this easier to apply, we again use our execute node. I can drag it on this middle one if I want to. See that would be, probably should drag it on the first one. So 1. If I can actually connect these correctly. 1, 2. Let's get a bit closer in. 3. And then just disconnect anything I don't need, and make this into your final compound. And we will call this burn sim. So those are my compounds all set up. Again, these can all be exported, and what you can see here under particles is going to save my scene. But we can see under particles here, clear that. I actually already set up a burn emit. That for the particle it has the emitter and the rating. This one is slightly simpler than we have a burn init and a burn sim. We're going to use those to reapply this to other objects.